This is April 12th of 2017, and it's the typography class for spring. And I am going to have students asking questions during the video, so this is in no way a professional video. We're going to cover InDesign as far as how to create various formats for what we're going to do as a hang tag. Now, when you guys are the formats we're going to create are a regular booklet, which is a 2-page spread type thing. We're going to do a document that is a gatefold. We're going to do a document that has a roll fold. We're going to do a document that is an accordion fold. And we're also going to do one document that's calendar style. So let's start out with the basics. We're going to do the new document as a booklet. This is the basic regular type small booklet. So I'm going to go new document, and in the new document window, I'm going to specify the width and height of my booklet. Now these are pretty tiny, so you'll need to figure out what size you want. Let's say mine's going to be 2.5 inches by 3 inches. That's you by no means do you have to do a 2.5 by 3 inch booklet. If you are doing these tiny booklets, you'll notice that the margins are way too big for this tiny booklet. So we may have to play around with the margins a little bit. And normally we might break it up into columns, but being such a small booklet, I really doubt that we'll use the columns too much, but you just never know. So I'm going to hit OK on this. And oh, by the way, I do want facing pages on, and by default, InDesign typically has that on. So facing pages would be on. Now, page 1 will be my cover, so I'm going to just type the word cover in here, just so we know. The cover of the hang tag booklet. This just helps me kind of plan my book. I'm not doing any design yet. Sometimes I can go in here and just kind of plan my pages and just type something in here that's for position only. FPO, F as in Frank, P as in Paul, O. FPO means for position only. Now, for this book, we have a minimum of 8 pages. So I'm going to quickly add pages by right-clicking on that first page and telling it to insert pages. So I just select the topmost item, and I'm going to insert 7 more pages because I already have 1. So the minimum for this was 8 pages. Now we can see by zooming out, I have 8 total pages, plus my page panel says I have that as well. Okay. Now if you wanted to number your pages, which some of you will want to, some of you may not, this is not a requirement, but in the event you wanted to number your pages or have pages numbers on them, we would use the A master, which floats above the regular pages in the pages panel. We double click on the name A master, not the 2 little icon of pages. We click on the name. That way it selects both pages. And we are going to maybe, in this case, you don't have to, but in this case I'm going to put some page numbers. Page numbers typically fall outside the margin area, between the margin line and the black line of the page. So I'm going to get a type box, and I'm going to just create a square. I'm going to put it anywhere. I'll make it smaller later. Pretty sizable square with a type box, type tool. And to get the special character for page numbering, I would go to Type, Insert Special Character. It's 5 items up from the bottom. I would go to Markers, and in that flyout menu, I would choose current page number. If you were to do this a lot, like every day as part of a production job, or you maybe are working for a book publisher, you have a keyboard shortcut, which is Command, Option, Shift, N, as in number. I can't remember that. I should. Command, Option, Shift, N. It's not that difficult. What happens? It puts an A in there. Now, if you were to type an A in there, you would get an A on every page. It puts an A in there because this is master page A. If I had a master page B, I'd put a B in there. Do not type an A in there. Now, what I normally will do is I will center this type, Shift Command C for center, and I will also change it to a font that I want to use, not one that is pre-loaded or nothing that I don't want the computer making the choice for me. So I'm going to choose my own typeface for this. Dido regular. And I'm also going to resize this so that it's appropriate for this size of a book. And then I position it, for me, I'm going to position it in the center at the bottom. Now, for your page numbering, you might choose to position it in the lower outside corners. You could position it in the middle, in the center middle outside, like this. Normally, we don't put them at the top, and we certainly don't put them here near the spine. That would be a bad idea. So you can put them in the thumb space, which is what's out here to the outside, the lower outside corner, or oftentimes we put them in the center. Now, if you want one on each page, you would simply copy and paste or Alt, Shift, and drag. I Alt, start dragging, then hold Shift down, and I can bring another automatic page number over to the right-hand page. This is my master page. Now, I only put on the master page elements that I want to have happen on every page. So page numbering, that's all I want on every page. All my pages are going to be different in design, so I'm going to get off the master page now. I'm going to double click on page 1, and you will see it has a number 1 down there. Now, for your cover, I oftentimes do not want page numbers on my cover. To get rid of this, I can't just simply click on it and move it or delete it because it is locked. Anything that's on a master page is locked in there. So to unlock or release it, in order to delete it, I would hold down Shift, Command, click and drag over it, and that unlocks or releases that item, then I can delete it. Okay, so on my front cover, I don't want a page number, and also on my back cover, I do not want a page number. So Shift, Command, click and drag over the number, and it releases it, then I hit delete.
What's the key code for Windows?
It would be Shift Control on Windows. Shift Control, click and drag, and then delete as well. You're welcome. The question was, what would be the control, or what would be the keyboard shortcut for Windows machines versus Macs? Shift Control, click, drag over it, and then delete it. Now I would start my designing. You guys have already been through enough, hopefully this semester. You understand how to import text, import graphics. It's all through File and Place. You shouldn't be copying and pasting from Word. Don't copy and paste from Photoshop. It's just not right. I do check your InDesign documents, and if I go to links and there's nothing there and you have lots of images and stuff, I know you copied and pasted them from Photoshop, and you get dinged about 20 points for doing things incorrectly. So do not copy and paste from Photoshop. You will not keep your job out there in the real world if you do that. It is not industry standard to copy and paste. So File, Place, anytime you want to place text or place graphics. Keyboard shortcut is Command-D on a Mac, Control-D on a PC. Okay. Now, I also want to quickly talk about printing this out because it will not automatically put these in the right order. It will print 2 next to 3, which we really don't have that happening when we're doing a staple stitch book, what's called saddle stitched. So I'm also going to cover the printing right now on this. When we print this, so let me save it first. Let me go Save As, and I'm going to call this mini booklet, mini hang tag booklet. And let me create a Project 6 hang tag folder. There we go, and saved it. Now, normally I would package things and all that too, but right now I just want to print it. To print a booklet like this, now the printing on each of these is going to be different. The gatefold is going to be printed very different than this regular booklet format. The roll fold is going to be printed differently. The accordion fold is going to be printed differently than this. The calendar fold, however, will be printed similar to the way I'm printing this. So the calendar fold and the regular booklet are going to be printed in a similar fashion. But gate, roll, and accordion will not be printed like this. So it's so cool because I have in InDesign this print booklet feature. It's File, Print Booklet. It's the very bottom-most item. And what it does is it brings up this rather complex-looking window. Oh, I forgot to tell it to set bleeds. Oops. when I created my document, I forgot to put bleeds on here. How do I do it after I've already created my document? Let's see if it's in here. File document setup. There it is. Bleed and slug. I need to put a P9 or 1/8 inch bleed on there. There we go. That way, when I'm designing, if I have elements going past the edge of the page, I need to pull them past the edge of the page. But I noticed when I went to File, Print, Booklet, the bleed was on 0, and that alarmed me because I forgot to set my bleed line. Okay, so that was File, Print, Booklet. Make sure you have a bleed of P9. If not, go and set a bleed and then pull your elements to that bleed line. Now here, I don't really see a lot going on that I need to change. If I hit the preview button over in the upper left-hand corner, you will see that I have a blank page, which is my page 8, and I have page 1. They're going to be next to each other. Now let's scroll and see what the next one's going to be. Page 2 goes next to page 7. It sure does. When it prints in printer's order, this is the order. It's not reader's order. This is printer's order. But when we bring everything together, we fold it and we staple it, everything will be in the right reading order. So 2 and 7 is next to each other. 6 and 3 are next to each other. 4 and 5 are your sweet spot. That's your centerfold. That's where I talked about how you could have the best graphics there because it's an uninterrupted piece of paper. It's got a little fold in it, but it's not, broken. Then we have, and that's the last spread there. Now the only bad thing is this is positioned in the wrong place on the page. If it prints front to back, the other side of this will print in the upper right-hand corner over here, and it'll be off. They won't be registered. So this is looking good as far as where the pages go, but I need to go to Print Settings in order to set it up properly for printing. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the 328 laser 1. That's what it's in our room right now. I'm going to go ahead and print blank pages because my document isn't designed yet. And I'm going to then go to, I don't have to click on spreads because I'm in the print booklet mode. It knows we want spreads. Okay, so you notice how that's grayed out? We are printing spreads. It's doing it for us. It's doing printer spreads. I'm going to go to setup and I'm going to choose letter for this because these are small books. I wanted to save us, we don't have to make big books. So these are little. But the thing that's going to help us make sure that they're registered when they print front and back is the page position. I've always mentioned this semester that the page position, get in the habit of making it centered. If we do that all the time, this shouldn't be a problem. So it's going to center those onto the page so that when it prints front to back, they should match up pretty closely. Marks and bleeds, I always turn my crop marks on. In a book, I also turn registration marks on because those fall dead center of where the fold would be in the spine. So I go ahead and turn registration marks on in a booklet type layout. So crop marks and registration marks. Don't turn on bleed marks or other things, they just confuse you. I'm now going to go to the printer button down near the lower left-hand corner. Whoops, excuse me, let me get back here. So I go to printer. Hit OK on the warning. I just want to make sure that it's two-sided. I'm going to show the details. Make sure that I'm working in color. If you wanted to save money and do a first draft in black and white, you're more than welcome to, but you can choose your color, your black and white. And I'm going to go ahead and print this. I'm going to hit OK. It's not actually going to print it. I'm going to hit OK. Oh, and look what it did to my preview. Page 8 goes next to page 1 because it's printing blank pages now. You see crop marks. You see registration marks. See those? Yay! Those let me know where that center is. And 8's next to 1, 2 is next to 7, 6 is next to 3, and 4 is next to 5. And they're going to print dead center and aligned. Now I'm going to go ahead and test print this to see what happens to make sure things are functioning. It should be okay. It'll automatically print double-sided. It'll put the pages in the right order, and they should pretty much line up with each other. Might be a hair off. We'll find out. Now, normally I would not print this until I have some design on it, but I'm just trying to test to make sure things are working. And while I'm at the print booklet, while it still remembers what I was setting up here. I want to go and save this as a print preset, if I can. There we go. I want to double check, make sure everything is still what it was, and save it as a preset. I'm going to call it a mini hang tag booklet. And then I'm going to hit OK. I'll cancel this printing and save it. I should just hit cancel anyway. So that is preset is saved in there. Now, what comes out of the printer are 2 pieces of paper. What? It's an 8-page booklet. How are there only 2 pieces of paper? It prints front and back. When this is folded, now I would be very careful about folding this. By the way, guys, you fold first. I usually score before I fold. I score down so I know exactly where it's going to fold. I don't just sit there and fold it. But you fold first, then you staple. Then the last thing you do is cut. If you cut first and then fold, the pages won't match up. I don't care how good you are. It just won't match up. So I always fold it, then staple it, then cut it. So, and it's printing pretty well. It's not perfect centered, but it's pretty well, pretty good. But these are all in order, but I would have a cover. You can see, here's page 1, page 2, 3, I should have made big numbers on here, 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, and 8. Okay, so that was easy. So we just talked about how to develop in InDesign the pages for our booklet for the hang tag for Project 6, and also how to print them. Now, I'm going to stop the recording, and the next recording is going to be covering gatefolds.